Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Nightmare Echoes. I'm your host, Eleazar. I'm joined again by co-host Jesse. Jesse, how's it going?
Pretty good.
Cool. I'm excited to talk about Backrooms, Kane Parsons' newest horror movie, which is doing well in the theaters. It was filmed for $10 million. It's already estimated to make around $85 million opening weekend, which is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, that's talk about a YouTuber just striking it big.
Yeah, big time. I know that another one this month, Obsession.
Oh, yeah.
Curry Barker from Obsession, he's made a movie for $750,000 and it's made over $100 million now, which came out the same month, which is massive.
Wow, talk about profit.
Yeah, YouTubers are just doing well for the horror space right now, which is great.
It's awesome.
Yeah. And so this movie stars Chiwetel Ejiofor as Clark. I know him from Serenity, where he played the villain in that movie. He's also Mordo in Doctor Strange. He has a role in The Old Guard. He's in The Martian, which was an amazing movie that I love so much. And then in a dystopian futuristic movie called Children of Men. I like that movie a lot.
I didn't know he was in all that.
He's in a lot of things, but those I had to pick five because there's a lot that he's in, but those are five that I really like his character in. Renette Reinsve, I'm sure I said that wrong. She plays Mary. She has like 23 acting credits, and I don't think I've seen one thing that she's been in.
Oh, no.
But what she's most famous for, according to IMDb, is where she plays a character in a movie called The Worst Person in the World.
Oh, I think that was another one I was kind of interested maybe to see, but I'm not. I don't remember anymore what it's about.
I think it's like her navigating her career and relationships over like a 4-year time span or something like that.
Sounds like a movie that would be kind of like Uncut Gems or something.
That was a good movie.
That was a good movie.
We have Mark Duplass as Phil. He's the person that works for Async that we see most, I guess, from that company.
Yeah.
He's been in the whole Creep franchise, Creep 2, and then the TV show, The Creep Tapes. He was in the movie Safety Not Guaranteed, and then a horror movie called The Lazarus Effect from 2015, which is a fun kind of B horror movie.
Have not seen it.
We have Lakita Maxwell as Kat. She's the assistant manager that works for Clark. She was in the movie Afraid, which was the Blumhouse AI horror movie that came out about their version of Alexa or Siri that kept the family hostage. She played the teenage girl who the AI helps her when her boyfriend takes some personal photos of her and spreads them all over the internet. The AI opens this case and investigation and makes him clearly the bad guy and tells the whole world how he's evil. And then Finn Burnett plays Bobby. That's Kat's boyfriend in the movie. The only thing I know him from is the A24 film called Warfare. Then we have Robert Bob Ritsky, who plays Pirate Bob. The guy is 7'7", so he plays like massive creature as well. The other thing I know him from is in Alien Romulus, which is a great movie. He plays Offspring, which is like this bird alien, humongous tall, weird human kind of hybrid thing. It's really cool. So I thought that was fun that they got a 7-foot tall guy to play him.
I thought it was just an effect. I didn't know he was really 7 feet tall. That's awesome.
Yeah, because a lot of people on the internet were like, well, that's really bad CGI. And they're like, no, that was a practical guy in makeup, guys. Which I think is hilarious.
That is.
All right, so I'm going to go through the movie. Keep in mind, audience, that we've only each seen it once, so this is the best of our memory of what has happened. But we start the movie with Async employee who gets lost in the back rooms. He's kind of panicking. He tries to radio for help. One part, he sees this bird no clip into the back rooms. The bird instantly dies. And then we follow him as something comes after them, although we really don't get to see what it is, and we assume he dies. Or I don't think we see him die.
Kind of reminds me of the opening to the movie Cube, right? You just see a disposable character just die and have no idea what's going on.
Right, they give us a little bit of action in the beginning so that we can know what we're in for, which I think is great.
Yeah.
And then we meet Clark, who is a struggling architect who has to run a furniture store to make ends meet. He drinks a lot. He's separated from his wife. He seems to have a lot of issues, which he sees a therapist for. In the movie, he calls in like the power company, the electric meter guy, to come read his electric box because he thinks he's being overcharged for electricity. The guy can find nothing wrong in his electric box except for these switches that shouldn't be there, these breaker switches that seem, according to him, to do nothing. He thinks they were put there as a practical joke.
Well, and they're red, and they're in the box like cornerways and upside down. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
And I think there may be some implication here that, you know, all the power that's powering all the lights in the back rooms might be getting siphoned off of random people's breaker boxes.
Which is, it's cool, because that's like a question we've never
Yeah.
had answered, I feel like.
Yeah.
And then, so, he is spending the night in his furniture store because he can't go home. He's been kicked out of the house, which he keeps going on and on to his therapist about that he pays for. And one night when he's watching TV, the TV goes off and he can't turn it back on. So he goes to turn off all the breakers. When he does, he notices that there's this thin slip of light through the wall in his basement. When he goes to it, he's trying to listen. He's trying to hear if he can hear anything on the other side. And he just falls through the wall like it's not there. And this is where he no-clips into the Backrooms.
The thin slit of light thing is something I've seen before in Backrooms videos, but I thought it was interesting they never brought it back again. Like, I guess that slit went away. When the therapist lady, whose name is slipping my mind right now, she goes back into the basement to look for him, she doesn't see that slit of light. Or maybe you can only see it if the lights are all off. I don't know.
That's what I'm thinking as well. I think she didn't turn the lights off, and she wouldn't have had a reason to want to turn the lights off.
Right, sure.
But we see throughout this movie that he marks it with tape, which is a smart move so that you could get back out anytime.
Well, he learns his lesson pretty quick, yeah.
Yeah. He goes in and he sees this pile of furniture that's there that looks like it's mirrored off of his furniture store. He sees all these office spaces that just don't seem to be built correctly. Like you have a little cutaway space where you couldn't even fit a desk, so there's no reason that someone would have made it.
Yeah.
You have a room with a stop sign in it, but it's spelled backwards.
Mirrored, yeah.
And behind it is this tiny little door. He kind of walks through. He sees the caveman that we see in one of Kane Parsons' videos. It's like a standee.
Yeah.
But this time it has a box attached to it. And that box is saying hello or welcome in all these languages that we sent off in a probe. What is it, the 70s or something? Like 55 languages?
Yeah, and so it's like kind of like a probe into the back rooms. It's using the same audio, right?
Yes.
And it's kind of neat, and I think you really can see how, like, the back rooms are sort of almost a parody of the real world. Like, the jumble of furniture is like a parody of the furniture store. At least that's how it struck me anyway. And, like, just everything in it is kind of like an imitation they refer to it in the movie as being, like, poorly remembered, but it almost seems like it's making fun of reality or real life, kind of.
Yeah, I like it a lot. So he keeps exploring. He sees a camera that's watching him. He tries to use the door in that room. It doesn't work. He finds this little crawl space with this tiny tunnel that he goes through. As he explores, he gets to a room with a high elevation to a small door with 3 knobs. And this is where his pathway back is blocked by something. He gets scared by something. He starts running. He makes it through that small door, which luckily leads him pretty close to where he came in. And so he's able to run back out.
I love the detail that only one of the 3 knobs work, too. That's a nice, cheap way to add a little tension in a scene, as if there wasn't already enough. What
a frustrating way to, like, get at your friends. Like, just put extra doorknobs on the front door that don't work. Oh. Sometime later, he goes to visit Mary, his therapist, and
Mary.
He wants to tell her about this. You've seen that he's been there a few times now, enough times to draw a map. He's trying to convince her that it's real. She doesn't understand what's going on. He uses the great metaphor.
How would you think she's going to believe that? Like, come on.
Oh, I know.
Like, I would have thought he was crazy.
Right. I think his idea of bringing a camera that he does in a little bit is smart.
Right.
I think he should have started with that.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Just because I drew a map doesn't mean my therapist is going to...
Yeah, let me go to my therapist and tell her I found an alternate dimension. That's a good strategy, yeah.
And I know he makes sure that she's not going to turn him in to some authority.
Right.
And she tells him, what you're saying seems fantastical, but it doesn't seem like you're going to hurt yourself or anybody else because of this. So it's fine. Let's just talk this through. And normally she's helping him with things in his marriage. They like role play things that happen in real life to try to help him maybe think of how he could answer it better.
And he gets really into it.
Yeah, and he doesn't seem to take any fault in anything, or he doesn't want to be apologetic. He gets really upset as if she's really his wife.
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't like. It doesn't seem like he's understanding the point of the exercise when he's doing these things.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, unless the exercise is to make him feel better because he could yell at her, not get in trouble.
I thought it was more trying to explore what his feelings are and where they come from and that kind of thing.
That makes sense.
That was how I took it.
That's possible. I think she was trying to give him an opportunity to be apologetic and think of how he could have responded better. But that's just my take on it.
Maybe. At the beginning of the movie, the first person that we actually see is the therapist, Mary.
Okay.
I mean, in some sense, she's the main character, not Clark, because she has her own trauma, right? Like, she's got...
Yeah.
I mean, we later find out the whole story is her mom was completely nuts, and eventually her childhood home got bulldozed. She's been trying to deal with that, and because her mom was crazy, right, she, I guess, became a therapist in hopes that she could fix other people.
Right, and one thing that we see in the movie is that there's a scene from her childhood where her and her mother both put their hands in concrete on their driveway, and so when it was bulldozed, she kept a piece of it, I think, of her mother's handprint, and she carries that around in her pocket. She has it at work with her. When she eats dinner at home, she has it on her little table, and she seems like she holds on to that trauma with that rock all the time.
Right. It's like one of her few good memories of her mom before she lost it, I guess.
Right, that makes sense, right.
And that has a lot of personal resonance for me. A lot of things in this movie did, actually. There were a lot of things in this movie that felt like they were talking about me, and I don't know if anyone else got that feeling, but...
I thought you might say that. I was going to let you bring that up on your own. But I understand why. I get it.
And did you notice, tell me if I'm crazy, but it seemed like that handprint thing got smaller every time we saw it in the movie. Like it was crumbling.
I don't know. I felt like it fit in the palm of her hand the whole time.
Oh,
like,
okay. I could be wrong. Yeah,
because it...
Probably just mistaken.
I mean, it looked like it wasn't the entire print. It looked like it was cut off at like the first knuckle or whatever. Like it was the piece that survived it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't know.
You might be right.
And now I'm going to talk about that more in detail when we get to more of her taking over the movie a little bit too.
Yeah, okay.
Earlier in the film, we saw that Kat, his assistant manager, and her boyfriend Bobby were helping Clark record a TV commercial where he has his one leg tied back so he can make it appear like he's a peg leg because he's trying to be a pirate. Although they make fun of his accent, they're saying it changes between two different, I don't know, jokes. Like are you a pirate or are you this other accent?
It's because he has this thing, it's the Captain Joe's Ottoman Empire, right? And so he's got two different references in there, one being to pirates and the other being to the Ottoman Empire, which is a pun on Ottomans, the furniture.
Right.
So then he says something about being your own sultan, which is more a reference to the Ottoman thing, and it's very confusing. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Sure. Yeah. So he, after Mary doesn't believe him, gets the idea that, okay, I know someone with a video camera. We are going to get Kat and Bobby. He offers them overtime pay to go into the back rooms with him, but he's very vague about what he wants them to do because he's learned that people aren't going to believe him. Right.
Yeah.
So he just shows them. They get down there. Kat is obviously really scared. Bobby is really excited when he sees him no-clip through that wall. Bobby's ready to jump through. So he does. Kat follows. She's really reluctant. They walk down the rooms and she's like, is this like an office space? And he's like, but who would build an office space that looks like this? It's all weird and stuff. And him as an architect, I think, fit really well for this character, for this movie, because he would understand how you would build a space practically, why this doesn't work. And I love that. So he leads them to a room that seemed unsafe for him to try to explore. It's because it has this like 45-degree angle downward. It's almost like a slide, but it's a hallway.
Before we go on with that real quick.
Sure.
One more thing about him being an architect. I kind of wondered, because there are a lot of elements of him in the back rooms, and because we find out that the back rooms has a lot of elements of people's lives in it, I also wondered if there was something metaphorical about him being the architect of his own space in there. You know what I mean? Like the architect of his own life, if there was some kind of reference to that. Yeah,
I do like that. I feel like that's why when he gets there, it's got all the furniture because his life is like the furniture. And then the fact that he's sleeping so close to the entrance of the back rooms, it's like the back rooms is able to get more access to his memory 24/7 to pull characters from. And I think that's why one of the still life forms that we see later is a mirror image of his wife. Like a theory I've heard a lot.
Right. Yeah.
Which seems to fit with
one of them's
how
a
she
mirror image
reacts.
of him, obviously.
Right. Right. And so I think that's really interesting, and I think that works really well with what you're saying.
I think so too, yeah. That was cool.
Oh, I agree. So they get to this room with that pathway that is like a slide almost. Like you could walk down it, but it would be easier to slide. And they tie a rope to
steep.
Bobby. Yes. And they send him down, and when he gets down there, it's more dark. It looks kind of damp. It's got a lot of dirty laundry, and then all the walls are filled with doors that don't seem to be at the right orientation. Like the
right-hand wall is actually a ceiling with lights on it and everything, and yeah.
And then there's a hallway up above him with rooms that looks like you couldn't possibly get to unless you brought climbing equipment or like you got a ladder down there.
Yeah.
Which always fascinates me. He was like, well, then I can't ever go to those rooms.
Yeah.
But he gets scared pretty fast, asks them to pull him back up. And they do. They help him get back up. But unfortunately, they don't pull up all the rope and he starts getting tugged. He gets pulled down. They fall down after him. They see that he's bleeding and his body's being drugged through a door at the far end that's tilted 90 degrees
sideways,
to the left. Yeah. Of course, Kat goes after her boyfriend, but she can't get the door to open. So she goes around, which logically that should be where the door leads, but maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, but not in the back rooms.
Exactly. Right. And then Clark tries to follow, I think, but when the entity comes back out, this creature that we don't see yet, he goes a different direction. He goes through several rooms. A few of them feel like direct references to other backroom videos, which I think are fun.
Yes.
He winds up in this room that looks like it's maybe a pool, or it's got shower stalls.
It's like
kind of like in a gymnasium, maybe. Right. And then he hears Kat on the other side of a wall. She claims that she could see him through glass, but for him, it's a solid wall. He sets the camera down, because this is all found footage at this point, right here in this segment. And something picks up the camera. Yeah. You hear Kat yell, "Clark, behind you," or something to that effect. He turns around, and then the camera cuts.
Well, and because the camera gets picked up to like this ridiculous height.
Right.
So, I mean, it's scary as the camera rises up and up. You're like, oh, crap, right? he's really screwed.
Right.
I mean, I also want to point out, like, we're telling this story pretty fast, but the pacing is really like slow and serious and suspenseful. And, you know, the music and the acting and everything all comes together. And I feel like, man, I really like Kane Parsons, if you want to use his real name. I really like his work, and I really felt like it really showed through in the creepy, slow pacing of the whole thing, and I really like that.
Right, and this scene in particular with her saying she could see him through the wall, but he can't see her, reminds me of one of his videos that was 45 minutes long with a guy that finds himself in someone else's house. The guy's like, "Get out of my house. Who are you? My kids are here. Get out of here." He's like, "Dude, I want to leave. I can't find any way out. There's no exit to this place. Help me find a way out." And they're like yell at each other between the walls, but eventually the guy has to give up and leave that area because that guy can't help him. And it sounds like that guy on the other side of the wall in this video is attacked, which is pretty wild.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing, it's very cool. And I know we're about to move on with the sort of next act of the film, but just really like, I wondered going into this movie whether some producer or something was going to water down Kane Pixel's sort of cryptic, slow style where he doesn't spoon feed you things and everything is kind of strange and hard to make sense of, and it didn't water it down at all. Like, I mean, it's just as strange and cryptic, and it had me really fascinated thinking about everything, and
right.
I think that's what he's trying to do, get you thinking about it.
Which I love because it fit with his videos. It fit like they let him do his vision. And I know it's interesting because there's some people who didn't watch any of his videos that go into it and they felt confused, although I think the movie did a pretty good job of setting it up and explaining what it was.
But I think you're supposed to be a little confused. The characters themselves are confused, right? I mean, it's disorienting. Right,
I agree. And I think it worked really well. What's really hurtful is that there's this small group of people that try to start a rumor that he didn't really direct it and that he just ghost directed it. And then, so the guy that plays Phil, Mark Duplass, he just gets online. He's like, "Guys, were you there?" Because I was there. I was there being directed by this guy, and he had more skill than some directors I've seen 3 times his age. Like, they asked people, "Hey, you're an experienced actor. Can you be there to help him?" And he didn't need it. Like, I was like, of course. Right. But then I got there and I realized he had a vision. Everybody understood his vision. He's had a great mind. He knows what he wants to see, and he did it all himself. So, all you guys,
I love Kane.
Right. So people are just being hateful for no reason.
Yeah. Well, that's the internet for you, right?
Right. Of course. Right. So we have these in-between scenes of Phil, and he's an ASIC employee. We do see a scene where he's watching the footage where he sees Clark and that we saw in that room right next to the caveman, and he's like curious what's going on. We get another scene here where he's watching TV with his family at home, and he sees a commercial on, which is Clark's pirate commercial. And he knows, oh, that's who this guy is that's in my Backrooms.
Okay, that makes more sense. At the time, I wasn't sure why he was looking so shocked, but I guess now that I think about it, yeah, that makes sense. He just realized now he knew who the guy was.
Right.
Yeah.
This is where we cut to Mary, who we see more of her childhood trauma and flashbacks. And I'm going to go a little out of order, but I'm just going to summarize the rest of her flashbacks. She was kept inside by her mother, who was suffering from mental illness. She had all the windows covered with newspaper. Anytime she wanted to peek or even go outside, her mother freaked out on her. And she's only freed when her house, I think, is scheduled for demolition. They force her to get out of the house, and then her mother eventually ends up in an institution to get her help. And that's how she gets free from her mother.
Yeah.
So she is worried about Clark. She actually gets a phone message from Clark, which kind of sounds like a goodbye. But she hasn't seen him for a long time. She seems to get worried.
At some point, I'm not sure if it was here or later, there was a scene where it shows kind of how her house is related to the back rooms through like a series of layers that get progressively sort of more and more like abstracted from the reality and more confused.
Yeah.
Maybe it was later. But
it's a little later.
I thought that was very cool. Because
it
kind of shows you how the back rooms are related to reality. Like it's a series of steps.
Right. You know? And then how by the time we get to her in that room, it's unrecognizable, and there's no reason she would think, hey, is this my old house? Right. And so, so she goes to the store to try to find Clark, and she finds a bunch of letters there, like bills that are due, maybe weeks worth of bills, maybe more. They're stuffed under the door, although the door just opens. So she goes in, she's calling for Clark, he doesn't show up. She remembers him talking about this doorway to the basement, and when she gets down there, she sees where it's taped over. Now, there's a fly in this scene that is buzzing around and no clips through the wall.
It's so luck. I mean, what are the odds, of there being a fly right there to show her the way?
Well, the best part about this, Jesse, is that wasn't in the script, and the fly just showed up.
Are you serious?
Yes. So Kane Parsons.
That's awesome.
Kane Parsons confirmed in an interview with BAFTA that the fly kept showing up during Mary's initial entrance in the back rooms, and they got the idea to include it because the fly wouldn't get out of the camera. Like, it was like, I want to be on camera. I want to be on camera. So they changed how she found her way in there and had the fly no clip in because it was there anyway.
That's awesome.
It just worked
That's so awesome.
So well.
I love how the fly keeps reappearing too. So it's like the fly's the real star of the movie, I think.
Right. Yeah. I love that Kate Parsons he wanted to be on the camera. We let him be on the camera. So good. So she explores a little bit. She sees that caveman guy. She sees that the camera's been smashed. She makes it to a room that seems like a dead end, and then she sees Clark, and I was afraid it wasn't going to be Clark, it was going to be something else, but it turns out to be Clark. He says something like, you found it, which gives the impression like he wanted her to come find it with her. I'm not sure. But then when the creature that we haven't seen yet is coming towards them, I was shocked when Clark grabs her in a chokehold and holds her until she passes out.
Yeah, that was not what we expected.
And this is the scene you're talking about where we show her childhood room where she was bunkered down, and it goes down to a floor after floor, and it's always remembering it differently. And when we get down to the room that they're in now, she's tied to a chair. And earlier in the movie, a character found these human-like memory people called Still Life, I think people are calling them. And they're just slightly off for some reason. She's sitting at a dining room table.
I would say more than slightly. I would say they're
you're right.
Very off. They're very off.
The guy at the table that isn't Clark or Mary has like multiple sets of eyeballs, and the woman standing behind Clark, who may be a recreation of his wife, is a redheaded woman. We saw her redheaded in the picture of Clark when he slept in the store. Yeah. And then there's a guy in a wheelchair with a lamp that's attached to the wheelchair that has a little pull string that he can turn on when they turn off the lights.
And his eyes are off kilter, and he's very just messed up as well.
Right. And so Here, Clark wants to go over the exercise again, where he wants to prove that he was right, because he was right about the back rooms.
The difference is now he has a knife and she's tied up. So this makes it obviously a much better situation for therapy.
Yeah, right, yeah. She makes some questionable choices and makes him really upset. But then when she says, like, it's okay that you found your way here, and if you want to be here, I think that's great, and I think it works for you. But I don't have to be here for you to enjoy this reality. He is like, okay, she believes in me, I'm going to let her go. Other things we see in this scene, we see that Kat didn't live because her decapitated head is in the fridge. I was really sad about that. I was like hoping she could live.
Yeah.
Clark says he doesn't want to leave down there. He pulls a piece of the guy sitting at the table's gut out and puts it on the plate, saying that this is edible and we could survive eating this. And so that answers the question.
The best part is they're edible. You can eat them. It's like he's so happy about it. And they kind of look delicious. To me, they kind of look like a meringue pie. In fact, that might be what it is.
I thought it was styrofoam, but that makes sense.
Oh, it could be. Yeah.
He's excited. It's edible, which means there's got to be a room that he's just chosen to defecate in. I mean, there's a lot of houses, so maybe one of those houses has toilets. I don't know. I just thought about...
We can hope.
Which hole does he decide to just let it go in?
We can hope.
That's where my brain went. So... But that answered a question for me that I was like, because people always ask online, where's their food?
How do they survive? Yeah.
Right. And I always see this post of like, everybody knows the cafeteria's on floor 2. Like, I see that post all the time. And I'm like, what are we talking about? Where's this cafeteria? I've never seen it in a video. What are we talking about? But anyway, I also want to say that we do see pipes with running water. So maybe that water's safe to drink, and that's how he survives with that too. So maybe. Okay, so he likes her answer that she sees that it's okay for him to stay there, but he can let her go. So he unties one of her hands, and then before he unties the second hand is when we get the reveal that this creature that's been scaring the heck out of everybody is the 7'7" version of Clark in the pirate outfit, who they just call Pirate Clark in the credits.
And it is terrifying.
It is terrifying.
It is the scariest freaking thing.
Yeah, I agree. And so Clark's like, she's fine. She's okay with what we're deciding. We're going to let her go. And Pirate Clark doesn't like this. I don't know if I've heard some people say it's because maybe Clark is seeing that his therapist could be right in some regard and the copy of him doesn't like that. I don't know. I haven't delved into that so deep. But it just seems like Pirate Clark was hungry, so he starts eating Clark.
Right. I think it was more just that, man, I don't know. They could be making all kinds of statements about, like, the side of him that the monster version of him represented, you know, that he was letting that part of him devour him, that he was letting that part of him take over him or something like that, right? By choosing to stay in his impersonal, alone sort of world, you know, like maybe it's a metaphorical thing like that. I don't know, but it's...
Sure.
Terrifying and interesting, which is the combination you want.
Yes. And then he's also happier in this reality where he has a version of his wife that doesn't talk. So she can never argue back with him.
Right. Yeah. And she's delicious.
That's hilarious. And so, yeah, when the big pirate comes into that wife version thing, runs off. And she's like screaming like she's scared of Pirate Clark, which is most of them just sit there and do nothing. But this one has learned that Pirate Clark is scary. Mary gets to free herself and she runs out of this house and she finds herself in a big room that's a bunch of houses. It's a neighborhood. But the door that looks like an exit door from the neighborhood won't let her out. So she has to run in another house, which leads through a series of...
And this is another room, by the way. This room that's like the street with a bunch of houses on it, that's also in one of his earlier Backrooms videos. So that was kind of cool, too.
Yeah, I like that. And I like that when she goes back into a house and she gets into hallways, a lot of those hallways seem familiar to other videos as well, or like rooms that she ends up like a corner room with a balcony way up tall kind of thing. I think that's familiar. Mm-hmm. She makes it to a room with a lot of couches, and as she's trying to run past them, she trips, falls between one, and hurts one of her legs.
Yeah.
She makes it to a hallway with a door that won't open, but has a small door at the bottom that she can get through, kind of like a pet door. And Pirate Clark's obviously way too big to get through that. But when she gets on the other side, it's this vast, like, hole where you see all these floors that have been remembered below it just go on forever.
Which is very cool. I love that kind of stuff.
And she sees this set of stairs that goes up to a small door in the ceiling.
And it's terrifying because there's no railings on these stairs.
Absolutely. You'd fall forever. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
So she carefully opens it. She goes through as Pirate Clark is busting through that big door, and she gets into what looks like the basement of the furniture store, but I instantly clocked that there's no tape to mark where the entrance is.
You can't get out of the back rooms that easy. There's no way.
Yeah, right. And so she goes up to the top of the store, but then she sees where the exit doors are. It's surrounded by the yellow wallpaper, and she can't even open the door more than like 2 inches.
Right.
Pirate Clark joins her. She grabs like a coat rack pole, and she's trying to keep him back. She ends up hitting his peg leg and cracking it, which helps him be less mobile, but he's still strong enough to pull her. He gets on top of her, and she's holding it back, and she pulls that piece of concrete that she's attached to, and she starts bashing his head in. One interesting detail is that he does bleed red, this Pirate Clark, and some people think it's because it had more time to figure out what Clark actually is when all the other people are probably just memories of Clark.
Oh, you're saying because the others were the meringue pie inside. Yeah.
Right. Where this Pirate Clark actually bled.
Right, okay. He's more real.
Yeah. She's able to hit him in the head hard enough and make it to this tiny little hallway, which, well, it's thin but really long. And we saw this in the trailer. She's like freaking out, panicking, trying to rush through as Pirate Clark is trying to get through, but he's way too big. When she emerges out of the other side, this is a really tense scene, she runs into the async people in their hazmat gear that we love from the videos, and they spray her down and drag her with them.
Seems like that thing was a trap that was set up to catch the entity, right? The creature, and like it was spraying some kind of immobilizing gas at them or something. And so when she comes through, it's like at first they're not sure what she is, and that's why they're spraying her until the other guy grabs him and pulls his hand away like, wait, no, this is a freaking person, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of neat because that kind of explains what that weird caveman thing was, right? It was bait.
Yes.
For the monster, I guess. You could also read it as like maybe they're just trying to disinfect her or something. I mean, there's so many ways you could interpret this, I guess. But
yeah, that's what I thought. But what you're saying makes sense too, because that spray was knocking her out. She was very drowsy, and they had to carry her by the arms. And when they do, we pass a few rooms in their back area. We see a room where they store a lot of these cavemen that they're using. They take her through the big doors that we see from the videos, like these big, awesome doors that the async has always used to go into the back rooms.
The gateway by which they actually managed to enter the back rooms, which in other videos, in other Kane Parsons videos, I think it is implied, and this is debatable because Kane doesn't like to tell you anything too easily, right? I think it's implied that the other entrances, where it just kind of merges with reality, like the furniture store basement, that those were all unknown, unintended side effects of Async Research's gateway. When they created their gateway that let them enter the back rooms, that was what allowed the back rooms to start finding other sort of inroads into our reality as well. Like somehow they're all part of the same phenomenon.
Yeah, I like it. So she wakes up in an interrogation room. Phil comes in, who we've been barely seeing through this whole movie, introduces himself as Phil. He asks her a series of questions about her experiences because he wants to get answers about it. He does tell her that their company used to make MRI machines before they accidentally discovered this liminal space.
You know, electromagnetic waves are magic, so you can use them to explain any kind of magic that you do.
That's what I do with them. Yeah. Just kidding. So I like that we get a little bit of answers, or like maybe things that we already suspected, but we get a little bit more concrete of someone actually saying this from the company, which I like.
Yeah.
But the only answer she wants to know is if she's going to be let go, and he says he doesn't get to decide that, but he wants them to work together.
And he's very nervous answering that question, which is a bad sign.
No, because in the videos, they've covered up deaths of their own employees, making it look like an accident. The families never know what really happened.
Yeah.
So I'm scared for Mary. Yeah.
Definitely.
But he wants to say that if they work together, they can help discover what this thing is, which he calls mankind's greatest discovery ever.
Which I can kind of see. I mean,
yeah.
Certainly would rewrite our understanding of reality if that really happened.
Yes. In the credits, we get some more pictures of rooms that we've seen in the back rooms, as well as more things being copied over and over again. We see the missing posters for Kat and Bobby that have been placed, that have been copied by the back rooms over and over and over again, which I think is fun.
And then at the end, we see a screwed up echo version of her in the room talking to Phil, but in the back rooms, I guess.
Right, that's right. That's good.
And I'm not exactly sure what to make of that ending scene. Do you have any ideas?
No, just that maybe it's telling us that whoever enters, it's going to copy from, or it's going to have access to their mind to copy from more. And so since she spent some time in there, it got a read on her and it copied her. Some people think that means she never really actually went through that door to exit the backrooms and the company's lying to her. But
No, I don't believe
I don't
that.
think so either, right? They show her go through the portal.
Yeah, you can tell when you're in the back rooms. It's too freaking weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I loved it, though. I love that it didn't answer everything. I love that it has potential for more sequels and more follow-ups since it made
Same, yeah.
potentially 8 to 9 times its budget opening weekend. Like, that's amazing.
That is amazing. It's awesome.
I think it's great for the future of YouTube filmmakers because a lot of
Yeah.
YouTube makers have made some really good things. The Filippo brothers that made Talk to Me and Bring Her Back are great movies that I love a lot. They started in YouTube. And there's other examples. I haven't seen Shelby Oaks yet. That was a YouTube creator that did that one. And so I like that Hollywood is finding a new breath of energy from these young people that have great ideas, and their ideas are making them money.
And it's more than just that. They're also like, I feel like taking filmmaking in original directions that it hasn't gone in before, right? Like I think sometimes in this modern world where we have access to the internet and everything that's ever been done, we start to feel like everything has already been done, everything is just a ripoff of something else. But this is pretty original. I don't think there's not a whole lot of movies that are like this, right? Like this is pretty cool stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm all for it. I'm all about just harvesting some of that YouTube creativity and using it to bring new life to the film industry.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, I feel like, maybe metaphorical, philosophical, or psychological kind of references in this movie, like the whole thing about the backrooms being kind of memories that are bad memories or distorted over time of reality. And if you think about it that way, it's kind of like it's saying that there's maybe part of the theme of the movie is sort of this horror, this fear that we're all made out of our own memories, and that as time goes by, those memories degrade. And does that mean that we're degrading into monster versions of ourselves over time, like parody or exaggerated versions of what we think we are based on our half-remembered memories of our early life? At least that was something I took from it.
I like it. At the core value, at least we do know that our memories are not perfect, right? And the more times we remember it, we're probably remembering it slightly wrong, slightly more wrong each time.
Because you're remembering a memory.
Right. Yeah. Other cool facts. While they did in the trailer use the same kind of technology he used to use the YouTube videos, and another tangent, that CCT footage that's in the trailer was dated June 29th, 1990, which is just 1 month after his last video, Static, did end, which I think is fun.
That's awesome.
Right.
So it really is just continuing the series.
Right. And then what's also fun is they built 30,000 square feet of backrooms in real life.
Wow, that's
and
cool.
The actors have said in interviews that many people got lost on them in them.
Oh my gosh. I would pay money to go in there, you know, like
yeah, the actress that played Mary said that she always made sure someone else was with her when she went anywhere in the place.
I bet. That's awesome.
Yeah, it would be a fun playground I know that there's not real monsters coming after me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here, Jesse. Anything else you want to say about it?
I don't know. I guess I'm still thinking about it, still trying to sort of put it together. I feel like because it was so cryptic, it wasn't as accessible as I thought they would make a movie, because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to hate it, right? Because
yeah, I've seen
I'm
that.
watching this like, oh, this is not aimed at the masses, right? This is not aimed at like the mass market. This is for people who like movies and horror and things that make them think, and it's not everybody's jam. So
right, you have to pay attention to subtle things in it. And it's definitely for people that have watched the movies before. I know that same thing, I felt like that with Five Nights at Freddy's 2. It was aimed at the fans more than the first one was. And so in my theater sitting of Five Nights at Freddy's 2 on opening night, people were going wild at everything that appeared on that screen. And like, oh my gosh, I saw the thing, oh my gosh. But then people that never play the video games or never watched videos about the video games or ever read the books or any of that stuff, just they're like, I don't get it, you know?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I feel like Five Nights at Freddy's is a little more accessible, a little more digestible. Like they're kind of telling you a story you can understand at the beginning and a middle and an end, and it's not as abstract as the Backrooms.
Yeah, I get you, but I heard a lot of reviews of people saying that there was no plot to Five Nights at Freddy's 2, or it didn't make sense. Whereas people are saying that, like I'm hearing reviews of there was no plot in the Backrooms, which I think is wild, because there's obviously a plot. And there's characters that change throughout, and we see how they dealt with trauma, and there's so much that happened that...
But I get it, because it's not a conventional plot. It's not a conventional story. It's a very unconventional film, and if people were going into it expecting kind of a typical movie, I can see how they would be like, what the heck is this?
Right.
Right?
Well, thank you so much, Jesse, for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is Nightmare Echoes. All right, bye.
Bye-bye.